Hello and welcome back to 365 Days with mxmtoon. I'm Maia, a singer, songwriter, video maker, Oakland native, and lover of light. I'm also a huge history nerd. I love untold stories, gross facts, hidden secrets, and anything weird, dark, and funky from the past. So each day, I'm going to share some of my favorite deep cuts with you. So let's dig into today's stories.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you've had enough. It's 365 mxmtoon.
Today in 1908, Albert Einstein presented his quantum theory of light for the first time. Of course, it took a long time to get to that presentation, so let's reverse. Einstein was born on March 14th, 1879 in Ulm, Germany. If you ever visit, there is still a plaque where his house once stood, but the house itself was destroyed in World War II. His family moved to Munich when he was a baby, and they later lived in Italy when his father had problems running his business in Munich. From his youth, Einstein was fascinated with the world and had a natural curiosity that lent itself to his later pursuits in discovery about the universe and forces beyond our control. In his memoirs, he recalled two of his earliest wonders in childhood. The first at age 5 was a compass. He was amazed that invisible forces could send the needle in the correct direction. This early fascination led to a lifelong obsession with unseen forces. Then, when he was 12, he fell in love with his geometry book. We can't help what we love. He called the book his holy geometry book. I wish I loved any academic subject that much. Though common legend claims that Einstein was a bad student who didn't fit in, he was actually a great student and excelled at physics and math, though he was more average at other subjects. And the rumors are true in the sense that he hated the authoritarian structure of school and dropped out when he was 16 to pursue studies on his own. It's a good reminder that the one-size-fits-all school structure just isn't for everyone. He tried to get into the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School, and while in his trademark manner he did great at the physics and math portions of the exam, he ended up not passing the whole entire thing because his scores in the other areas were lackluster. He took additional classes in the areas that he struggled with on the exam and was eventually admitted to the school in 1896, and got his diploma to teach in his preferred areas of math and physics. But he couldn't find a teaching position, so he worked as a clerk at the Bern Swiss Patent Office. He used this time to work out ideas on his own that he thought might turn into worthwhile theories. He looked over patent applications and in his free time got to thinking about special relativity. Eventually going back to school, he got his doctorate from the University of Zurich in 1905 and was finally able to get teaching positions in Zurich and Prague. That same year, Einstein got super productive and published 4 articles on theoretical physics. Now that we've got the Einstein basics covered, let's figure out where light theories were before Einstein made his presentation. Basically, there were 2 major theories on what light was and how it worked. One was Newton's particle theory, that light was an infinite number of particles emitted from whatever the source of light was. The other main theory was wave theory, which stated that light traveled in waves carrying a specific frequency, like sound. During Einstein's super productive year, 1905 if you recall, he realized that both theories were correct, and thus developed the theory of quantum physics. He combined this with his earlier theories that light behaves as if composed of photons, and his research into the quantum structure of particles within matter. The quantum theory of light stated that light operated at a constant speed no matter what was going on in space or time, and that light was composed of small particles that made it operate waves. He said that both light and matter are made of tiny particles that are like little waves. The light particles are called photons, and the matter particles are called electrons, protons, and neurons. The wave idea goes all the way back to the 1600s, when a Dutch physicist, Christian Huygens, presented a diagram that showed that at a molecular level, light behaves like a wave. Later in the 1800s, James Clerk Maxwell showed that the wave is an electromagnetic wave that travels through space at a frequency of the speed of light. In 1909, Einstein continued the theory with discoveries about wave-particle duality, which is the idea that the wave theory of light had to be supplemented by the theory of light as discrete particles. Danish physicist Niels Bohr utilized Einstein's theories when he made his model of the atom. In Bohr's model, electrons occupy the area around a dense nucleus made of protons and neutrons, and you probably made a styrofoam version of this when you were in school. Einstein later became known as the father of relativity and won a Nobel Prize. His most famous equation is probably E equals mc squared, which further expands on the quantum theory, stating that energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. In addition to the quantum theory of light, he also pioneered the general theory of relativity, which explains gravity, and the photoelectric effect, which goes into a deeper explanation of how electrons behave. His final effort to create a unified theory of everything, which attempted to unify all forces in the universe within a single theory, remained incomplete at his death. Einstein's life wasn't all about physics and relativity. He got married in 1903 to Mileva Maric, who was another physicist, and had 2 children, Hans Albert and Edward, in 1904 and 1910. He divorced Maric in 1919 and got married again to a woman named Elsa Lowenthal. He died on April 18, 1955, at the age of 76 in Princeton, New Jersey, but his influence will live on forever. Einstein theories still help astronomers study gravitational waves and Mercury's orbit, and of course, they help us understand the light around us every single day. Now for our music fact. Today, in 1991, New Kids on the Block held a concert in Berlin, Germany, but it didn't go totally as planned. A riot broke out, and over 1,000 fans ended up seeking medical attention. Now, I know that we can't wait for concerts to be back, but please make sure when they do, you don't actually cause a physical riot. And now for our final segment of the day, I'll be going into my own photo archives to see what I was up to on a November 14th in my life. So yesterday, we had the beginning of a story that happened on November 13th, when I got a random text from a stranger that said that they wanted to cook Sprite. And today, I tell you the end of that story. So there was a lot of other texts that got exchanged within the period of time of November 14th as I tried to, figure out what was going on with this person and who they were, and also really curious about what cooking Sprite would do. And so on November 14th, I followed up. I said, hey, I haven't heard anything. What's going on? You got to give me the updates. And so they were like, all right, I'm buying this Sprite now. And what commenced was a series of text exchanges and photos of burning caramelized Sprite on the bottom of a silver pan. And it was a mess. Oh my God. I can see there's like a silp hat. They placed it on in the oven for a little bit at one point. Eventually I said, glad I could witness. Thank you for documenting. And they said, thank you. Bless you. Are you Maia? And I went, quite possible. Who does this happen to be? And they went, I went to middle school with you. And then they told me who they were. And I went, holy shit. Just so you know, this is the best thing that's happened to me. Also, I have shared this epic saga on Twitter as it's happening. I hope that's okay. And they go, yeah, I saw. Because, me, I share every waking moment onto, the internet, which is very fun. But that was my time that I got a mysterious text from a stranger about boiling some Sprite in a pan and seeing what would happen if you cooked rare Sprite, raw Sprite. And just so you know, please don't ever do it. What basically happens is you make like a really bad caramel. That's essentially what happens. But that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of 365 Days with mxmtoon. Farewell for now, and remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can come back tomorrow for more facts from yesterday.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you